Now, Rebuild America, a show all about moving you, your family, and America forward.
Help us rebuild America and rebuild our middle class and give young people opportunity.
Welcome to Rebuild America.
We're back. It's hour 3 of Rebuild America, and we're here at Radio Row, Washington, D.C., taking your calls at 866-338-9663, 617-237-1234. And talking to a lot of our good friends today at Families USA, and now I've got a great opportunity to talk to somebody who's been involved in healthcare, involved in the political process, worked in the Clinton administration, has testified before Congress. He is a national public affairs and issues strategist. Bob Weiner joins us here at Radio Row. Bob, thank you for joining us today.
Jeff, it's great to be with you and to be back in Massachusetts, where I went to UMass grad school. So I'm thrilled to be with you and what you do as the 21st century Roosevelt liberal, Jeff. I told you off air I'm a practical progressive, and so I think we're going to share and blend some views about how the Republicans are nothing but a tax breaks for the rich party.
Well, there's no doubt about that. You know, we were just talking with one of the press people here about the fact that you get Mitt Romney, who's a corporation disguised as a human being, yeah. and you have the rest of the crew, which is completely clueless to the needs of working class and middle class Americans.
You mean instead of the child janitor party that Newt Gingrich wants to create?
Right, exactly. Yeah, go work when you're 7.
Yeah.
I think that for a lot of people, when we think about fighting back on health care and fighting back on Medicare, there are some that think the Democrats haven't pushed hard enough. You're a fighter. I can hear it, see it in all the work that you've done. What is it that you think we have to do to regain the perception in America where people think that health care is not only a right, but that we need to have a healthcare system very similar to what's going on in Canada, very similar to what's happening in Germany and the UK, and they've been having for years. How do we get there?
Well, Jeff, there are several areas. I've been talking to a number of White House reporters because of my op-eds. I've done 160 of them since I left the Clinton White House.
See him here, Miami Herald, Palm Beach Post, a lot of places.
I'm credentialed to go into the White House news conferences and cover them, and the reporters say that Obama, I love the guy, but he hasn't gotten his message out on what the bill does for human beings. And we let this happen with even the debate moderators for the Republicans. All they do is they let the candidates say they would repeal Obamacare, and the moderators never asked them what they would do about the 2.5 million children who are now receiving care on their parents' plans. The fact that half of Americans have pre-existing conditions that are now under the Affordable Care Act covered, that 50 million seniors now are having more of their drugs covered under the donut holes disappearing under the bill, the fact that prevention is covered, the fact that people are covered for the first time for life, that without the bill there are 30 million more people without health insurance, and all the studies, and this is the key, Jeff, say that they would die sooner. Just give all that away when we finally match what every other civilized nation on earth that you were pointing out offers its citizens. Finally, we provide that, and the Republicans want to give it away. So what we've got to do, you got 5 justices, Roberts, Alito, Scalia, Thomas, and Kennedy. They may be lost causes, but let's point it out. Let's out them before the fact. Let's say that these guys are biased. They are Republican appointees. They are going to vote against us just so that they can jam it to Obama. And maybe by pointing that out, they'll develop some heart. And so I think that the game is in the Supreme Court. And I think that what we have to do is to point out that this court not only can vote against the mandate, but can vote against all those provisions that I just mentioned and say they are not severable because the insurance companies are going to claim that they're going to lose so much money. Well, they make $100 billion. So what if they only make $85 billion instead of $100 billion? And
let me ask you, you mentioned the courts. Okay.
I sure did.
Kennedy is no liberal, but has voted on some issues, to the Democrats or the centrist left side.
Jeff Toobin from CNN said
let me ask the question
that
first.
Kennedy is as conservative as any judge used to be, only now in this context context of Roberts, Alito, Scalia, and Thomas, he looks somewhat moderate. But if you were to measure him,
he's a Reagan appointee.
That's right.
But all I'm saying though is that is there a chance that he wouldn't go along with the draconian measures that you just saw that would take people who have pre-existing conditions and leave them without that would obviously take people who are now in their 20s. I mean, these are all things that we can point out, and that if Kennedy does this, because he obviously is going to be the person that is going to be the folks that everybody looks after and goes after. I'm just wondering, if there's a way to sort of lobby to him and lobby at him, what is at stake. And if he wants to have that on his record, fine. And I think that's even a bigger way for those in the progressive community to say what you just said, and quite passionately, about what is there with the 5 votes and make it that much clearer. So,
well, you can only hope that they will use the precedent of Medicare, Social Security, and driver's licenses and so forth as government power under the General Welfare Clause, and that this has been done. But I don't think it's a matter of the merits. I think it's a matter of this is Obama's signal achievement, and they're going to jam him. And that's tragic. If that's the way that our justices in their robes with their high honors that everybody wants to think are above it all and really are simply the issues paragons of our country and our great civilized society where we're so patriotic over. If it really comes down to a Supreme Court that does Bush v. Gore and Citizens United on the basis of politics, that's tragic. And maybe we need to hope, this is being really crass, but Roberts has a heart palpitation, so maybe it's not going to be one of the old Democratic judges that dies first. Maybe it's going to be one of the Republican judges, and Obama, God help us, he's reelected, gets to appoint the judges that will make the difference and save us. Because it really, Jeff, is a matter of the votes.
Well, there's no doubt. Let me ask you this question again. The phone number to join us 866-338-9663. 866-338-9663. If we can, let's just say, for the sake of it, that it does indeed go down that way as you described it. They say, all right, it's unconstitutional and you can't do this. How long does it take into effect, and what can be done in, say, 2013 to make it even stronger and to shove it up there, where?
Well, if we do a revolutionary change in the Congress, because Congress is less popular now than Hugo Chavez, than Fidel Castro and Richard Nixon, with its 9-14 to pick your poll popularity, and those have been indicators in the past of a flip in the Congress. When you have, especially, the polls blame the Republicans for obstructionism. So we could conceivably get an overwhelmingly Democratic Congress. People could be really angry and all of that, and maybe this anger will, if that's the case, then we can protect what we've got and push more toward even where we should have gone in the first place, which Obama said that if he were able to get the votes, he would have been supportive, but he didn't think he could, and so he compromised to give us this insurance company mechanism of health care, but single payer, which, by the way, does have some single payer anyway. Jim Clyburn is the only one who on TV I saw on MSNBC, and I told him this, congratulations, he recognized that adding the 30 million people under Medicaid is effectively single payer for them. So we do have some single payer in the bill, but most of the bill is private practice insurance company making money for the insurance companies. So what's going to happen in the courts is they're going to make the case that we can't afford to have these provisions of the kids and the lifetime benefits and the lifetime caps and no caps and pre-existing conditions and all of that covered, because we just can't afford to do it without the mandate, so there should be no severability. Our best case scenario may be that because even Howard Dean said that the mandate is only 4% of the bill, that maybe they throw out the mandate, but they force the insurance companies, don't take their garbage about they don't have the money to do it, and make them still keep that part of the bill keeping it as constitutional for the actual provisions. To my way of thinking as a pragmatic, I told you I walked in as a pragmatic progressive, I think that's the best we can get, and I'm not even sure we can get that 5-4, but we might be able to get that the provisions are severable and are constitutional, and what's not constitutional is the mandate. That, to me, would be a good outcome.
Yeah. Well, it may very well be. But I think, again, the key thing for me is regardless of what comes down in the Supreme Court, what the president has to do in 2013, given the hope, and it's not that unreasonable, that they hold on to the Senate and they get Obama reelected.
That's iffy on the Senate, by the way.
I understand that, but let's just take it for this: is the fact that then you start talking about how you can do improvements to the Affordable Health Care Act.
Single payer.
Well, I agree, but it's not. But show me the roadmap, because right now we have single payer, and places are about to be in Vermont. You have Oregon looking at it. California had passed it, and then Schwarzenegger vetoed it. So where are we? Does it take a couple of years to get it going in the state houses, and then therefore it comes to Washington in 2016? How do you look at it?
Well, it took since Truman, as Claude Pepper told me, to get healthcare going, and then Hillary, and she couldn't do it because the healthcare insurance companies did Harry and Louise, and then we almost lost this one because of the propaganda and all of that, even though it always starts with the American people supporting healthcare by 15%, and then the insurance companies lobby and put the ads on, and then it dies and loses its public support, which is where we are now, despite the good that this bill is doing. It's lost its public support, which is inane to me, but it's successful propaganda. So we have to start all over again. We have to start all over again with making the case. Somebody like Hillary or Obama has to, whoever's president in 2016 has to make it. It's not going to be Obama in 2016. Has to make the case for it and say we have to take it a step further, which is exactly what you're asking for, and it's exactly the right thing to do. But I think that probably will take to the next presidency to do, because it's going to be all we can handle now as an active retrenchment against the Republicans who want to do nothing but cut benefits and give to the corporations and take from the people and give to the military. That's all they want to do. I had a 95-year-old friend who died recently who said he's never seen a party get enacted with one platform to give rich tax breaks to their buddies. So it's going to take a whole new round of organization from the word go. But look at the generations that it's taken us to get this far.
Sure.
And all we've got is 30 million more people under Medicaid, but everybody else under the private insurance companies, which cost us being twice as expensive as any other country on earth, and not with the best care because we're giving it away to the middle. We have in the 40s in life expectancy and infant mortality. So don't give us that we have the best care. It's not. And the reason is the insurance companies. So when that's finally realized, people just don't go there somehow. It's just so obvious. The insurance companies come up with some other babble of I don't even understand what they say. It's growth, it's nutrition, it's this. Come on. It's the fact that you're not getting the best health care. And the Harvard study shows that without health insurance, people die sooner.
We're talking with Bob Weiner here. I got a couple of minutes left here. One thing that we had talked about off the air is this article that you're talking about in a potential situation where you have a couple of different attorney generals going back to back to each other to debate this issue. That's not public yet, and I can't go public with it until we have all the logistics worked out. So, all right,
but
well,
it is a huge debate. The debate is whether the health bill is unconstitutional. And the Supreme Court's going to be deciding that. And what I think we have to do, by the way, we made a huge difference, all of us in Radio Row, a couple of years ago when they were going to go force the issue at 60, and we persuaded by all the calls that we said, call Rahm, who was then chief of staff, call Reid, call Baucus, and they didn't want to go to 60. They wanted to go to 60, not 50, and we said that's not what the Constitution says. Use sequestration, which is a budget allowance, and go to 50, and that's how the bill got passed. So now we have to lobby the court. Roberts, Alito, Scalia, Thomas, and Kennedy, and we have to make them understand. And maybe if thousands of calls go to them, to Roberts, Alito, Scalia, Thomas, and Kennedy at the Supreme Court, maybe if they get inundated with letters and I don't see anything wrong with it. I see nothing wrong. This is America, and we have the First Amendment, and these guys are political appointees. There's nothing wrong with making sure that your Supreme Court justices know what the people think. They're so rich and so above it that maybe they don't.
You're not going to get a disagreement from me. We've been talking to Bob Weiner here on Rebuild America. The phone number to join is 866-338-9663, 866-338-9663. All right, I got a minute left, Bob. If people want to reach you, how do they do so, and how do people join what you have been able to do, which is, keep this issue front and center?
if people have ideas for op-eds, I'd love to hear them. We have a website, weinerpublic.com, WEINERPUBLIC.com, and our address is Robert Weiner Associates, Post Office Box 28271, Washington, D.C., 20038-8271. And we would love to hear from you in terms of ideas, but I also hope that people will not just get it going with me. I'm a vehicle and a spokesman for progressive causes, but you've got to call the Congress and flood them. Look what just happened.
202-225-3121.
Look what just happened on the internet. Now let's make it happen on health care.
I agree with you. Bob Weiner, thank you for your passion. National Public Affairs and Issue Strategist. You know how to reach him. Thanks so much. All the best. This is Jeff Santos. You're listening to Rebuild America. We're live at Radio Row in Washington, D.C.
Get involved.
866-338-9663.